Hello, everyone. It is Monday night, so you know what that is. It is the Physicist and Philosopher Hour. I am the philosopher, R. Wayne Steiger, and the physicist is Dr. Claudia Albers.
Hello.
How are you doing, Claudia?
I'm fine, thank you, Wayne. And how are you?
Doing good, doing good. How was your week?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I spent a lot of time writing one particular article, which I'm not sure I've sent it to you yet, but it is the one about the sun is darkened.
I do have that one pulled up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that one for me, finally putting that together for me was like vindication. Because that's one of the reasons why I got into trouble in the first place, was because I started saying that the sun was going dark, and as the eclipse season was not an eclipse. And now that I understand everything about these images, I was able to put it together so that plus people I thought were not understanding all the arguments when I was talking about it. So now put it together in a way that I think is most understandable to everybody. So I
Excellent.
was very happy with it. I took a long time with that to get it just right.
Good. Well, we'll pull that up,
Yeah.
and that will be fun to go through.
Yeah, and I just, you know that I just wanted to say hello to all the MFA members because, as you know, Scott is live streaming this on
Thank you, Scott.
Facebook for them. Because
Welcome all
Scott,
the members.
yeah, he's been very busy with this. He's heading up this new MFA media group.
Excellent.
Yeah, and they're interested in everything we have to say because they want to know the truth.
Well, I think tonight is going to be one of those truth buster nights. So
Mm-hmm.
we welcome them and thank them as well. Thank you, Scott. Way to go and best of success on that new position. I know it's going to be good. Now, I am a person who loves to promote our guest and accomplishments. You have a new book.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes. I did not know about this, folks, but it will be in the listening
There it
later on.
is.
There. Now hold that up again, Claudia.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's of course with Scott. I can't say I've done it all myself. I've written the articles, and he puts it together, and he does
Way
all
to go.
the editing, and a lot of the photographs are his because he's the one that's catching these objects most of the time.
Excellent.
So it's the two of us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Folks, and is it on Amazon?
It is on Amazon. It's our seventh book now.
Seventh book.
Seventh.
Let's say we got the seventh planet, the seventh book. I mean, a lot of sevens coming up here.
Uh-huh. That's true. That's true. Seven's a
It
good
is.
number, I
It
think.
is a good number. I've
Yeah.
always liked that number. I just want to say hello to everyone. Brian, Sherry, Claudette, Jet, everyone. Brian, good to see you. So, Dr. Albers, it has been 1 year ago that we experienced the total solar eclipse here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you were here then, weren't you not?
I was. In
Okay.
fact, I saw the eclipse and I was able to use the naked eye to look at it, which you were not supposed to be able to, but I was.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I actually saw the sun getting smaller, and it was like the moon was retreating and then going back. It was crazy. So I knew there was something very wrong with it.
That that would be something I would say that
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I thought and let me trying to drive the ship here, folks, at the same time. What I did is that I went back and pulled up some of the pictures that I was taking
Mm-hmm.
and thought I'd share them because you and I weren't doing this show back then. So we were literally right on the very line of totality. and these are what we were taking.
Unbelievable. I mean, just the first two, I could see there was something wrong with them already.
This is, by the way, we think it was the International Space Station. We don't. That's what we were told. And but
yeah,
I just thought these were just some great shots. That now you were in Pennsylvania, right?
I was here already, yes.
Okay.
And I remember looking at the footage and saying there is no way this is a natural eclipse. They use some kind of simulation devices to simulate it. That's what, I mean, look at this. How can the sun produce this kind of symmetric pattern?
This is the ISS going by. Watch that, Claudia. I got it on.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, they'll
That's
say
what they say. I thought these were some very unique captures that the camera was picking up. As you can see, this was a very unusual.
I would say so. Very unusual. That kind of extremely symmetric pattern you would expect out of an artificial light source, not the sun. That's 93 million miles away.
And here's that, whatever that was passing by. I don't know what that was. What do you think?
To tell you the truth, I'm actually writing an article right now where I come to the conclusion that a lot of the things we are seeing in the sky is actually alien technology.
I would not be, don't know what that was. Again, there was so much going on up in the skies when this was taking place that it was really hard. I thought that this picture here, I want to show you in particularly, this one here was very unusual. The very distinct lines here, it's as though my camera was picking up something, and you can see as this is traveling across whatever that is. Did you see that?
It looks like two beams intersecting. That's what your camera was picking up.
Yeah, and you see the object coming.
It's an intersection of two beams. This is one of the ways that they produce the strong solar simulation source in the atmosphere by intersecting beams. We've seen that even from the ISS footage. It sometimes looks like there are two beams impacting some kind of reflector.
Now that's the strangest one right there, Claudia. Look at that.
It's very strange.
I don't believe straight 90-degree angles occur in nature, do they?
No, not at all. I don't think this is naturally produced. There is no way this is the actual sun that we are looking at. There's no way. This is, it's like we are in a movie studio and these lights are being used so that certain effects can be produced. I mean, that's what it looks like. So it's like being in a studio. This is not nature.
It was a very strange occurrence, as you can see. Look at that. Now, some people have said that almost looks like it's a portal. Can you see the eye opening up here? And these are right off the camera, folks. I mean, we had about half dozen cameras set up going, and it was just some very, I've been in.
You see how the edge of that beam, how focused it is. It's not from something being out of focus that you get this effect. This is actually what is there. The camera's picking up what's actually there. It's intersecting beams of light.
Quite unusual. And I'm sure that people in the chat room are talking. These were some of my better ones. And again, I don't know what these objects were. I caught multiple objects, Claudia, coming through. As you can see.
I can see that the blue outlines would suggest perhaps lenses in the atmosphere. Other people have caught these types of objects.
This one here
Yeah.
is the one. Watch this, Claudia. It actually captured it as it was going across.
Wow. Look at
I don't
that.
know what that was. And you can see in the next frame, it was gone.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of device as well, or
Could
spacecraft.
be. And again, I don't know what that is, but I just thought I'd share those.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but
Yeah.
definitely, I don't think I have, since I arrived here, seen an eclipse, even a lunar eclipse, that is natural. There's always something about it that indicates that they are using holographic projections, simulation devices, and so on.
Well, yeah, and there was. Did you happen to see the light snakes when the eclipse was taking place? I have
No, that I haven't. I don't think
one
I have.
shot of this so that everyone could see what light snakes are like. It was it it made my stepdaughter-in-law, she almost got vertical, almost made you started feeling seasick. And so this is what it looks like. And as you can, let me pull it up here. So you actually get these light waves coming through, and you can see how it begins to distort the shadows, everything else. Very strange effect.
Yeah, that's very strange. But I looked again at that image you showed last week about the sky and how it looks like there's this wave in different colors.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized what it is. It's actually an electromagnetic wave superimposed on the chemtrails that are in the upper atmosphere. And what it shows is that they can produce a holographic projection of whole huge pieces of sky.
That I do not doubt. I'm seeing, again, I had a number of comments on the UFO that I captured right above my house, and actually had someone write from over in England saying that it was probably one of the best captures of, a very large, whatever it was. I don't know. I get sometimes that we're like living in a fishbowl, like someone's watching down on us, watching us. You ever get
Oh,
that
yeah.
idea? Yeah, it makes me kind of go,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to tell you the truth.
Well, now I have for us, because I'm doing a little project, Claudia, and I'm doing a little theory, but what I wanted to do here was to bring into our discussion today the discussion on other planets with possible civilizations, specifically Mars. And what I have been doing today is I have gone out, and I'm actually going to do this tomorrow on a show, but I just thought we'd let our audience tonight get a chance. Now, this was taken from the Russian probe back in the 70s.
Yes.
And as you can see,
yeah, it looks like city.
It does look like a very big city.
Oh
this,
my. You see, this looks like wreckage or something.
And I even have them better on this one here.
Wow.
So there it is right there. This was the object.
Yes.
And this is now using different filters, because what they're doing, just to let everyone know, the camera that they use up there is a specially made camera by a company called, I think it's MCCO. I think they get the pictures first. And the reason why, when we look at them, Claudia, that they're so diffused is that because that's exactly what they're doing. They're diffusing.
Yeah, they're doing it on purpose so we don't see what's there.
So you can see.
Yeah, there's lots of evidence that nuclear weapons have been
I'm glad you brought that up.
In the atmosphere. And for that, you would have to have a civilization, and a civilization at war.
What do you think about this?
Wow. Oh my goodness, it looks like a rat.
Exactly, folks. This is not doctored. This is not CGI'd.
It's a rabbit
It's
or
actually
something like a
some kind
rabbit.
of a rabbit or a rat of
Or a
some.
rat or something. Oh my.
Look this out. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
wait, it gets better. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Folks, that it is a lizard.
Oh my goodness.
This
There's
is
animal life on this planet too.
this is a fossil. And what's really strange about what's going on up there, this is another one from the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
I think there we go. I was going in reverse. Wait, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, those animals look like they are alive now. So that means there is life on the planet right now.
Here's another one. This is all from the Russian probe. You can see the source where it came from, the ESA. This is the Mars. You can go and check these out, folks. This looks to me to be a heavily populated area. Look at this.
Wow. Well, a lot of it looks
Look at this,
a bit
Claudia.
broken, and
How does nature get a perfectly defined edge on this? You don't.
Yeah, definitely. But it looks like a ruined city to me.
Yes, this is another one, the Russian probe. And look at this.
Oh, look at that.
Yes, it gets strange.
Oh my goodness. It's a face or
a face, or I thought some potentially maybe a helmet. That's what I thought. How is this possible?
They had cows or
this is taken right from rover.
My goodness. My. Oh my.
Now this becomes very strange. You think you're looking, the problem that people have to understand, we're looking at potentially 50 miles across here.
Mm-hmm.
That
looks like a valley down there, a riverbed.
Oh, you're going to be surprised. These are not natural, but I have them better. So we're looking at what clearly appears to be what would be the aftermath of a nuclear
explosion.
All right, so pay very close attention to this picture. This is one that look at the colors of the ground. This is a river back here, folks.
Oh my.
These are encampments. And when you begin to see, because it's hard to see with this light, it's very difficult. Look what happens when it gets stranger, folks. So this is enhanced as now you can begin to see the different striations.
Oh my goodness, riverbeds.
Exactly. Definitely. Recent, folks. Recent. This is what they say is a nuclear explosion being caught on Mars.
Oh my God.
You can see the cloud. They've measured.
Oh my goodness. When was this photograph taken?
Very recently. I think in 2012.
Oh my.
This is Mars? Seriously?
It looks just almost like Earth.
Look at the fossil.
Oh my.
In the riverbed.
So there's war going on Mars right now, because if that picture was, that looks like a woman or something.
It does, doesn't it?
There's war going on right now there. Wow.
Yeah, folks.
Oh my goodness.
There's our lizard.
Yeah.
Does that not look like a Mayan statue? Now, of course, this is subjective, but those looks to be a foundation.
Yes, they're definitely foundations for buildings or ruined
ruins. Yeah.
Ruins, yeah.
How does a perfectly round cylinder ball form in nature?
Yeah. Oh my good. That's definitely. What is that?
I know. Here is an actual craft caught from a
Yeah.
satellite recon.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Now, Dr. Albers, how does a
That
rock
thing is
levitate?
floating.
How does that? And by the way, folks, we caught this more than once. Look at that. How does it levitate?
Well, something must be causing it to levitate.
Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
This
Oh,
moves. Whatever
that's an
that
animal.
was, the animal moved.
Oh my goodness.
Look at this one. This is called the Woman of the Cliffs.
Uh-huh.
Wait till you see this, folks. There she is.
Oh, wow. There's life on, oh my, that's a face of a man with a beard.
That, my friends, is Sumerian Mesopotamian on Mars.
Wow. That looks like a mouse
Yes.
or something.
There's
That's
another.
an animal.
That is an animal. How do we have shiny things on
That's
Mars?
some kind of device or craft.
Something.
Oh my.
Let's take a look at this, folks.
That's an alien being with holding something.
Looks like a weapon to me.
Looks like a weapon, yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't look human. He looks alien. He's wearing a suit.
Does look like a suit, doesn't it?
Mm. Oh my goodness. It's like we stepped into science fiction.
Well, no, I think what we have to do is that, if we're talking, here's the strange thing, and this is fact. You know what they're finding on Mars? They're finding a radioisotope that is only found where nuclear explosions, detonations have taken place.
That's right. So, but they saying what I heard was these explosions were supposed to have happened a couple of million years ago, which I know is not possible. But with that photograph, oh my goodness, that's a wrecked ship.
It is. And you know what, folks? That is Curiosity's tracks.
Oh.
MOG, no shit. This is no BS. And you can see.
They hiding this from us.
Yes, they are. Our rover, look how close it got up to it.
Oh, it went there to explore that thing.
Yeah, well, it certainly seems like it found it, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And look at it. This is Curiosity, folks. We can see it.
Oh, my goodness. So there is life on Mars. There's war on Mars. There are aliens on Mars.
What the heck is this?
There are animals. Giant worm.
They say it's a giant worm, but what we know is that it's casting a shadow. That you can see.
Yeah.
What is
that?
We tried, as someone explained to me today, is that we have to remember everyone on planet Earth thinks about life on planet Earth as through what Earth is like on planet Earth, because you have no other way to associate life but then on planet Earth. This is life on Mars.
Yeah.
As you know, it would be a different planet. Look at this, Claudia. This is obviously what. Yeah.
Lizard. Looks like
one on the left. Yeah, is the one that the rover caught.
Uh-huh. Oh my goodness.
This is the strangest one, Claudia. I don't know.
Climbing up. It looks like some kind of crab or something.
It does. It does. Look at this. How do we get pyramids on Mars?
Yeah, that I knew they were there.
There's a close-up.
Oh my goodness. That's a statue of something.
Or a tomb or
something, yeah.
There's the pyramids popping up through there.
Yeah. Oh my.
Look at that.
What is that? Some other kind of statue or something?
Yes, a lot of statues. Look at this odd formation.
Yes, it looks like a broken piece of a building or something.
It does. It does. I mean, and now this is odd. This is a wrecked spacecraft.
Uh-huh.
It's buried with a cross.
Wow. Oh my God. Well, I've heard that there's a human base on Mars. It's been there it was there for many years. I also heard that recently got destroyed. So there were humans, I think, on this base on Mars for many, many years, since the 1970s, probably.
Claudia, I want you to pay attention here in the next couple of frames.
Yeah, that looks like a seabed.
It's water. It's the reason why the next light, this is showing you.
There's actually some water there.
Yeah, the moisture. And as you can see in the striations going
Oh,
up.
yes, you can see the river at the back.
Yeah. Yep.
It's actually a river.
It's actually a river, folks.
Oh my goodness. There's still water on Mars.
And I don't know what this is. They tried to say it was an anomaly. But
no, that's an animal. That
looks animals to me. That looks to me to be a fossil.
Mm-hmm.
That's a helmet.
Yes. Oh my.
There's another one of these spherical balls.
Yes.
Now this is strange because this is burnt. And you can see these shards, whatever this is. I think that could be potentially a bone.
Yeah. Pyramid.
And these came right off of, you see exactly where it was, Curiosity. You can see exactly what sol, what date it was, what master cam it's using.
This is unbelievable. How did you even get all these images?
I spent about 9 hours pulling them off the web, different websites.
Wow.
Now, this is an anomaly. You see, rover it's a small little craft. I mean, it's got a small, about 18 inches, 19 inches.
Yeah, those are huge tracks.
They are huge tracks. And, it looks like something here did a complete, I don't know what the hell happened there, to be honest with you. There is even a better picture of it.
Wow. Oh my goodness, Wayne.
So I got no idea, but look at, this is the anomaly right here, is like, well, something else came over it.
Yeah. A smaller track, smaller vehicle. But definitely, it looks actually like 3 different vehicles there.
It does.
The other one on the right looks larger than the one on the left.
And you can see the double tracks on this one.
Yeah.
This is strange, folks.
So it's all different tracks.
Lots of different tracks. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. That looks like the face from a statue.
It does.
Yeah.
And there were so many of statues they have found. This clearly looks to be at one time
a column.
Yeah, it was something. I mean, it was too defined of the structure.
Look at that. It's like a Greek statue.
It does. Moen, that's what I was thinking. Definitely something from that region. These are obviously fallen. Look at the face right here.
Wow. Yes.
There is, and that's what it looks like.
My.
And look at that.
That's definitely a building. It's missing the roof there, but
a ruins or something. This looks to me like some kind of a pit. I don't know. I mean, it could be water.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
There's obviously civilization there.
It looks like somebody, and here, this is now the fun one. Look at this, folks. So we get this. We get obviously a face.
Yeah.
This is the nuclear explosion.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually, they're saying that this is the top that's blowing.
Okay. Wow.
There you go, folks.
Water.
This is from
That's water there.
That is a river. That is a river.
This is unbelievable, Wayne.
Here's the woman on the cliffs.
Yeah.
This is that picture I just showed you. These to me look like statues.
Yeah, it looks like fallen over statues from
a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, that have been destroyed in this war.
So my contention is, and there's that, whatever that is.
Yeah, that looks like some kind of rodent.
It does. And this is that picture even more, Claudia.
Yeah. Wow.
So there you go.
My.
Little trip to Mars. I hope you enjoyed that. Because I contend, Claudia, that there is, or still is, a war taking place up there.
Yeah.
We're capturing nuclear mushroom clouds that we're picking up isotopes that are only resemblance of, again, nuclear weapons we have.
Yeah. Nuclear weapon signature.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
You know,
because I mean, I knew about civilization on Mars, but I thought that it had gone. They'd had the war, they'd destroyed their own civilization, and now it was over. But it could be that other aliens went there and started again. And
it looks to me like it was a diverse, different species, obviously, because atmospheric conditions, you know, would have to be tolerated with the body. Obviously, there would have to be issues, I think, in cold, but different life forms have different habitats. And what got me, Claudia, was the diversity of what appeared to be humanids or some sort of life forms. That one in the uniform that held the gun, I mean, that just took me aback. I mean, you look at it and I don't know, it could have been.
You know, to me, and the suit that he was wearing was obviously a protective kind of suit. It was very bulky. To me, it looked like a trooper from some kind of alien race in a science fiction movie.
I have a hypothesis I'm working on. I think it could be the Anunnaki.
Yeah, that's possibility.
Well, here's my logic. Something happened here in Earth. I don't know what, but it makes sense to me that if you could come to this planet, Mars wouldn't be all that much different for you to adjust to. Now, I don't know what Nibiru, what the planet is. I don't know the atmospheric pressure, etc. I mean, that would be great to hypothesize. But I don't think it would be a stretch to think that Mars would have developed a form of life much like Earth would have. It would have been different.
To tell you the truth, I think most of the planets, even those that are further out from the sun, are not that different. And I base this on the fact that stars and planets are not actually that different. And most of the energy and heat for a planet does not actually come from the sun, but comes from inside the planet itself.
Yes.
It's generated in its core. This is why the Earth can survive very well without the sun. The Earth has all the energy we need. They don't want us to know there is so much energy within the Earth, which it generates itself. We don't have any need for fossil fuels. We don't have any need for nuclear energy. All the energy we need is inside the Earth. All we need to do is learn how to get it out. There's some very easy ways of doing this. So all the planets, including those that are further out, say for instance, the moons of Jupiter, can very well support life.
I think you're absolutely right. I look at the Earth as nothing more than it's a self-generating generator. It cycles life. Life is energy. Energy is electricity, and it can go into that type. And to me, from that, I don't see where you need the sun for that type of interaction.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Anunnaki. I know there are aliens out there, but I believe that they are not benign. I think they are actually behind a lot of the things that are going wrong on this planet, and that they are deceivers, liars, and they are behind the shadow governments of our world. They've taken over our planet.
Well, now you're not going to get any argument from me on that.
They're the ones hiding the system from us. They don't want us to know about it. And that's why there's so much alien technology in our skies. It looks alien because it is alien.
That is something that from a philosopher I look at all the time, because the implications for that, Claudia, is that where does it put Homo sapien in the whole big picture? Because it seems to me there's a lot of effort going in to keep us blinded, so to speak, from seeing.
Yeah.
And it's your article here that you were actually talking
and I start and I explain how I started investigating this, the Planet X phenomenon, and how I started by just looking at the clouds. I start with a scripture because I believe that the sun is going dark. And here it is in the Bible. Jesus said that immediately after the tribulation of these days shall the sun be darkened. And we always thought, oh, it's an eclipse. No, it's not. The sun is dark, going dark, and actually staying dark for certain periods of time.
I want Jeff to look at that. I'm going to have Jeff do a word study on that. That's very interesting on that, because you're right. It says is now being darkened, not going dark, darkened.
That's right. So, and then I go a little bit into my history. I explain how I started investigating this phenomenon by observing the pink clouds in the sky. And I knew then that that was impossible. There had to be some source for that light other than the sun. So, and how it led me to discovering how gravity really works, that the observations are real. We have these objects in the sun's corona. And the only way these objects can be there is if they don't obey normal gravity, like we've been taught gravity works. And then it led me to discover that gravity is associated with energy. And if an object is low in energy, it has low gravity or very low ability to influence other objects gravitationally. And it led me to discovering what gravity really is. And this was one of the questions that my students used to ask me. What causes gravity? I used to say, I don't know. But I was interested in answering the question for myself as well. And now I understand what causes gravity. And the source of gravity is light. It's the photon. And it's photon energy, the photon within the particles of an object that generates the gravitational influence of that object. So out of light comes gravity.
All right. I love this.
Yeah, and there you see, these are one of Scott's latest discoveries in the sun's corona. You can clearly see it's not all that clear sometimes in the PDF, but clearly a spherical object in the sun's corona. You can just see the connection that they make with the sun's corona. They make a root-like connection. It looks a bit bluer than the object there because they draw material from the sun. And the reason why they draw material is because they're low in energy. And when a low energy object comes close to a high energy object, the low energy object draws energy out of the high energy object. That's just the way the universe works.
And, you know, and all the controversy that this generates, and this is what I think, Dr. Albers, is that a class 1 civilization, top tier, if you are traveling, which to me it would be, to travel out into the cosmos, the one thing that you know that you would have in great distances would be stars.
Mm-hmm.
They would be like a gas station.
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, to me, it's not that hard to fathom.
No.
But you get those that get so much into I actually had someone write this to me. We look at the real science, and I wrote back the individual and I said, so what you're saying is that you have discovered everything to be discovered and nothing more can be discovered because it does not fit your paradigm.
Yeah.
The person never wrote back. So anyway, I apologize for interjecting it, but I thought it needed to be said.
That's the way it is. This is how they guard against the truth, because they think they've discovered everything there is to be discovered, but they never even look at observations. They throw away an observation because it doesn't agree with the theory. But
Yes.
How can you understand the universe? Because then you are living in an artificial universe of your own creation because you refuse to observe the real universe. It's only by observing the real universe that we understand what kind of universe we live in.
And we're still discovering that we don't know what universe we live in.
Yes. But the thing is, we have to look at the images that we have available and show us what and see what's there. But most people will say, oh, that's impossible. So I'm just going to forget that I saw it. I'm going to close my eyes, basically.
Actually, you know, odd that you say that. And during the week at noon, I'm doing a whole reading on a book. And one of the things that was attributed to angels was that they would say to the person, you did not see me eat that. You saw nothing. Today, science, to use your words, does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I even talk about what my astronomer colleague, he had an office right next to mine at the university. And he talked to me, he right at me, he said, no, we're not going to discuss the corona. And then we were looking at these images and he said to me, oh, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the Earth's atmosphere, that the satellite views the sun through the atmosphere. So about 30% of the sun basically would be affected. But the thing is, the reason why we have a satellite, and these are extreme ultraviolet wavelength images, the atmosphere absorbs all X-ray and extreme ultraviolet. This is why we need a satellite out there. We cannot view the sun in extreme ultraviolet and X-ray from within the atmosphere because the atmosphere absorbs it. So obviously the satellite is not seeing the Earth, the sun through the Earth's atmosphere. And you can clearly see the first time that I saw these images, but I said, but nothing of these structures seem to be covered by the Earth. Because if anything was covered by the Earth, we'd see half structures. But everything's perfectly edged as if they are complete. And the thing is, the corona shrinks from image to image. So it's not the Earth covering the corona that's causing that. It's the corona itself shrinking because light emission is decreasing across the face of the sun.
You know, the
So,
implications on this is enormous.
yeah, that's right. And here's the SDO satellite that its orbit drawn to scale. It has a 24-hour period because it's a geosynchronous satellite. It has a 28-degree orbital inclination, so I've drawn it accurately there. And the reason why it's supposed to have an eclipse is because at 2 points on its orbit, so twice a year, it will go behind the Earth. Remember, it goes around the Earth every 24 hours. So when the Earth is at position A and B, the satellite would go behind the Earth for a few hours each day. But when it's at C and D, when the satellite is behind the Earth, it's either below the Earth or above the Earth. So then it's, the Earth does not cover its view.
Well,
so this is the cover story. But the images they show us don't show an eclipse. There is no way that's an eclipse. So I go and I calculate how large the sun seems to be, how large the Earth seems to be as far as SDO is concerned. So that's the angular width that I calculated there. So I use the Earth's radius, the sun's radius. The angular width is the diameter divided by the distance from the satellite to the object. So the distance basically from the Earth to the sun is 152 million kilometers. And I calculated the angular width for the Earth, and the distance there it's quite well known, the geosynchronous altitude plus the radius of the Earth, 42,100 kilometers. So the Earth would be basically 33 times larger than the sun as far as the satellite's concerned. So I draw there what it would look like. So that's how large the Earth would look to the satellite and how large the sun would look. So then if the satellite is actually looking at the sun, then on the right-hand side, you see what the Earth would look like. It looks like a little triangle. And the bulge is slightly upwards towards the sun, but it's almost flat. That's why I can approximate the Earth with a triangle.
Makes sense.
Okay, so I made sure I did that. And then I start actually looking at the images. And this is one of the images that we saw in figure 1, where about half of it, we see the sun has gone dark. So then I throw out this question. So where would we put the Earth? Would we put the Earth as in the center image? Go back to that one first, please.
This one?
Wayne, yeah,
okay.
That one. So you see in the center one, I place the Earth below where the tip of the corona is, where it's flush with the face of the sun. And I say, okay, maybe that's where the Earth would be. Remember, the bulge of the Earth is very tiny. I don't know what would cause that darkness above it. Doesn't seem to be the Earth. Or I could put the Earth slightly up, but then part of the corona would be covered by the Earth. So that's impossible. So the more likely position is the one in the center, where we see the whole corona. Okay, so now we can go down. And then I start comparing. This one's very important because now we can compare what the sun looked like before. There's 4 minutes difference between the two images. The one on the right is the same one that we saw in the figure above. That's that one there. And we compare it with what the sun looked like 4 minutes before if the Earth was covering it. So now we compare the two. So we look just above the cylinder. We look at the corona. How can the Earth be covering that part of the corona that is missing above the cylinder? It's impossible. Obviously, the corona is shrinking. Look at it. Look how different it looks. It becomes flush with the face of the sun, and it's perfectly edged in that dark purple. So that's the end of the corona. It's not being covered by anything. The Earth is not covering the corona at all. And then we see that bulge of darkness above the triangle. And as you're pointing out the coronal hole, it looks like that coronal hole grows from 4 minutes before.
Am I, not to interrupt you, Claudia, these, I know what these come from. I know this is 211 angstroms.
Mm-hmm.
What's getting me, and the reason why I'm looking at this looks smaller than this. I'm looking here at the edges using the triangle. Maybe it's an optical illusion, but my eye swears that this sun, I could almost put it in on this sun.
Yeah, I think what has happened is the corona has shrunk considerably.
That's what I'm trying to point out. That's what I'm trying to point out.
That's right. That's the whole thing. It's impossible for an eclipse to cause the corona to shrink, because an eclipse would be due to the Earth being in front of the sun.
Exactly.
But the Earth is only where the triangle is. It cannot be above that. There is no way the Earth can cover that portion of the corona. And you can see what the corona looked like 4 minutes before. It should have looked the same, and the Earth should have been covering the lower part. That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing the corona shrinking, and it looks like a coronal hole is growing across the face of the sun. And even that coronal hole that was above there, it has grown in the later image, because the bottom part of it, its edge is no longer there. It's gone dark there, and there's no way the Earth could be covering that. And then the other thing that I mentioned is, well, if we could see the sun through the atmosphere, we know that's impossible. But if we did, then parts of the sun would look darker. But we can see that the parts that are the brightest stay at the same brightness in subsequent images, even as the darkness progresses.
I blew this up, Claudia, so people can see.
Yeah, that's
what
good.
Is really happening here.
Look at the difference. Look at the difference.
And it's not a defined edge, folks. This is like what this reminds me of? Reminds me of the carpet of death. It's irregular, but yet it's creeping right on along.
Exactly. But you see that there are cellular structures on the sun that refuse to go off for a while. They stay on.
Yeah.
But they perfectly edge. They either stay on or they stay off. There's never anything that's covered by the Earth being in front of the sun. Nothing. It's structures that either stay on or stay off, because the sun is turning itself on or off. It's basically turning off, and it goes right across.
People can't handle that, Claudia. You know that. They can't handle the thought that our sun would actually be doing this, because, but look at that.
It changes everything. This is what I say. It changes just about every accepted astrophysical theory we have about how the universe, how stars work, how stars form. It changes just about everything.
Look at this.
That's why they don't want us to know about this.
This is fascinating. See, this is why I tune in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've digressed on this, but this is...
Yes, and then I show that it happens at every wavelength. Every wavelength that the SDO satellite detects, and it happens at different rates for different wavelengths.
It does. Look at that.
And the last one there is visible light. It's 4,500 angstroms. It's just dark, because the only image I could come up with closest to the 652 time was the 7 o'clock one, and the sun had gone dark in visible light by then. And it's very good you pointing these out. As you can see, these two images, this pink one here, it's the 1,700.
Excuse me, I lost. There we go.
Yeah. It's below that. You can see it, but yeah, this one, that's the 304. That's the 211. I think that's the 335. But these two at the bottom, as you can see, look at the difference between the size of the sun that we're seeing. Oh, they all at about 652.
Look at that.
And the one on the left is actually a few seconds before the one on the right. So you can see the sun's going dark at different rates. If the Earth was covering the sun, this would be impossible.
Okay.
And then we can see the bulge on these two parts of the sun that we can see bulge downwards below that blue line. And for the Earth to be causing this, the Earth would have to have a negative curvature. That means it would have to be indented in instead of bulging out like a spherical object's supposed to be.
It'd be concave, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would be concave instead of convex.
Wow.
So this all shows that it's impossible that this is an eclipse. This is the sun going dark.
I mean, this is just amazing. And then
this actually, the satellite was launched on February 11th, 2010. The eclipse season usually occurs February, March, and then August, September. But it didn't occur in March of 2010. So the first one was in September of 2010. And these are images from it in 335 angstrom. I don't think this is from the first day because the sun doesn't go completely dark on the first day. But on subsequent days, it does.
Look at that.
Yeah, you can see again that the corona shrinks, even though the corona looks smaller in 335 angstrom.
It is smaller, though. That's what I kept on seeing the other one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We can see the corona shrinking. We can see the irregular edge in all these images.
Look at this.
And I think the last image, it goes completely dark.
Yes.
In one of the images, you'll see
Right
it
here.
will just be black. So these are at 1 minute intervals between, I think, 6-something and 7:07. The last image will be at 7:07. You can see the light emission coming back on the sun there. And that's the last one. That's the 7:07. But what is the most surprising? Yeah, you see it coming back there. The most surprising is when I compare the 7:07 image where you can see the whole sun already with the 7:08, which will be below this.
Oh, below this one? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
When we look at these two, look at them, Wayne. Can you see the difference? 1 minute apart. Suddenly the sun gets much brighter and the corona grows all around. What does that indicate? It indicates that the size of the corona has to do with the light emission. So when whatever object approaches the sun starts affecting it, the corona starts shrinking immediately. This is what we first see, is the corona shrinking. It has to do with the sun's light emission. When it starts losing light emission, the corona shrinks. All around, the whole sun is affected.
You can see it. I mean,
it's amazing.
Your eye is visually drawn towards it.
And this is actually the only time that I could very clearly see this. On subsequent eclipses, SDO eclipse seasons, they're not eclipsed. It's the sun losing light emission. Obviously, some object approaches it and causes this. I couldn't see such a dramatic effect as I saw with this in this 2010 season. And obviously, because the sun was stronger then. After this, the sun got weaker and weaker and weaker. So what did we see happening here had a lot to do with the sun losing energy and becoming dimmer and dimmer.
Jeez. Well, this is not good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not, it bears witness to the facts, Claudia, that we are sometimes so duped. We're trained to think a certain way, and we're trained to react to a certain way, and it gets in the way.
Yeah. The thing is, Wayne, how does this change things? First of all, it tells us that the sun is not powered by thermonuclear reactions from inside it, because if there were, there would be light coming from the interior of the sun all the time, and it would be impossible for it to go dark. So that shows that the light emission is just in the sun's atmosphere, just like it is in the Earth's atmosphere through lightning. It's the same thing, except the sun has a much larger electric potential difference across its atmosphere. So it goes into plasma arc mode. And that's where its light emission comes from. It's electrical. That's why an object approaching it and suddenly drawing a whole lot of electrons from its outer layers drops the potential, and the sun goes dark. It also means that its surface is not hot. The surface of the sun cannot be above 750 degrees Kelvin, because there's no visible light emission coming from the surface of the sun, and it's solid, just like the Earth's surface.
Well, I wanted to talk about this because this ties right into the next segment, Claudia, about the magnetic, what I think is we're getting set up, the dramatic movement, particularly of the poles. And this is the one of the North Pole. What it's done in the last 5 years is amazing, Claudia.
It is indeed. I have written a little bit about it. The thing is, in order for our poles to shift, they are shifting. We have to be having a slowly progressing crustal displacement occurring on our planet. This is the only way, because even though most of the magnetic field may be externally produced by solar particles and the stellar core matter interacting with the Earth, they would still align to the permanent magnetic field that is in the Earth's core itself. So the fact that this is changing and progressing means that our crust is shifting with respect to the core. Yes, and it's doing so slowly.
And I'm just pulling up some of the things that we're seeing. We've just been in a geomagnetic storm that just came in. I'm just simply pulling some of these up.
I have just looked at that. I was thinking about writing something about this, because they of course say, oh, it comes from the coronal hole at the top of the sun. But excuse me, that coronal hole is permanent. So why isn't this geomagnetic storm permanent as well?
Makes one wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
No, it cannot be that this came out of nowhere. It cannot have just come out of that coronal hole. Like I said,
it was
that
impossible
hole is
because
there are coronal holes at the top and the bottom, and they're permanent. There has to be something else causing this.
For this geomagnetic storm to hit, and it got up to a KP 7, I think is where we hit on this one. The coronal hole stream was very weak to begin with.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting here going, because I get the alerts, and I'm going, what the heck? Why?
What I think happens, and why our ionosphere is getting so ionized, and why we're getting these effects, is because what we have is stellar core debris coming in all the time. The stellar core debris is enveloped in coronal plasma. So when the stellar core debris comes in, it's detected as if it's coronal plasma coming in, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it's energized by the fact that it's absorbing energy from the coronal plasma. That actually ionizes this coronal plasma even more. So when it interacts with our magnetosphere, we get these kinds of effects. And we possibly, the fact that this is now happening means we're getting more and more clouds of debris coming in. I've been writing about that it's likely to have, we're going to get more and more and more of it coming in, and possibly larger pieces coming in, because these pieces are gaining energy. And when they gain energy, they gain some gravitational influence, and they'll start being attracted to the planets.
Well, I think, I'm just showing up some of the latest of GOES. I think this is GOES 16, that the planet is changing. It's changing all over, Claudia.
Yes.
And I thought this article was pretty strange as well, as how they could actually predict what they thought were going to be the coronal holes. The corona on this last eclipse, but I digress on that. So I just think it's so interesting to see where we are now. I'm getting out of one thing and into another browser. So there we go. What an interesting hour.
Yeah. Oh, is it over already?
It is.
Amazing.
And
I thought I was just getting started.
I'll tell you, I think that, and I haven't had a chance to see all of the comments, but, the audience is very much aware, and this is why they're here, and to hear you, not me.
You as well, of course, Wayne.
All I do is just...
you put together such good photographic evidence. It's amazing.
Well, it helps sometimes, because, we get beat up sometimes on this, but, and I think it's a normal reaction, Claudia, is that I think so many people get overwhelmed, and, you want to go back to that safe place. And unfortunately, I don't see that happening.
Unfortunately not. Our planet, as you said, is changing. Our solar system is changing. And the thing is, people have not been told the truth about what's going on. So that produces a lot of uneasiness. But the thing is, who would like to just be surprised one day? Wouldn't we all prefer to know what's really going on? I mean, if people don't want to know the truth, they can, of course, just stop listening. This is for those who want to know what's really going on. And I believe in telling people the truth, telling them what's happening with our sun. And if necessary, you need to realize that things are changing on this planet. And if you need to seek God. You need to find spiritual strength to cope with it. But you need to know the truth.
Yes, and that combination, I mean, you have to have something that has a foundation that keeps you steady. But the truth as well. I mean, the master never said that the truth was always going to be pleasant. He just said it would set you free.
That's right.
Just sometimes, you don't want to hear it. You're going, I don't want to hear that. But once you are immersed into it, you go, oh, well, I'm glad I learned that.
Yeah.
I still remember my 5th grade teacher, Miss Buttons. She told me, I got to go back the day after school was out to help her put up all the stuff. And Miss Buttons was a country teacher. She was well into her 70s, very strict woman. But this is what she told me, Claudia. She said, Wayne, you're a very, very sharp boy. But she said, I want you to remember something. She says, an ounce of common sense will outdo a pound of book learning any day.
Wow. Very wise teacher.
Let me tell you what, it has saved my life more than once. So, there we go.
That's wonderful.
Just saying, folks. So we started on science and we're ending on philosophy, as it should.
That's the way we should.
That is the way.
Yeah.
So, folks, we appreciate it. Have a great week. Claudia, show your book again. And you need to send me the link on that.
Yes, I will.
Folks, come on. Let's show the support for our physicist. Listen, it helps. It helps. as they
Yeah,
would
it
say. It
does.
does.
And the thing is, if the internet ever goes down, you have the book.
You got the book.
That's the only thing you will have that you can read. I suggest that people buy important books, like a Bible, like some classics, because you never know when they are going to take away the internet. Buy some survival books, how to start a fire, how to collect water.
Chase, here's an idea. It's exactly right.
How to do first aid and things like that. I think that's a good idea. Collect some of these books. You never know when you will need them. And even if it's not you who needs them, maybe someone will come along who will find your book and save their lives.
The Carrington effect is going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And when it happens this time, it's going to get rough. I mean, you won't be having telegraph lines burning up. You're going to have complete grid systems going down. So I agree with you. That's very good advice. So, Miss Claudia, we will see you next week, and give my best to Scott. And once again, the group that he's setting up?
MFA Media Group.
Okay.
MFA stands for March for America.
March for America. Check them out on Facebook. Thank you again, all you members there. We are always welcomed here. We appreciate that. Dr. Albers, again, great class. Great class. I enjoyed it. And I hope you have a good week, folks. We thank you all for joining us. You make it possible, and it's because of you that we're here. Otherwise, Claudia and I could just simply hang out on Skype.
Exactly.
And say, hey. So, all right, folks. Thank you again, all of you. We will see you. Tune in tomorrow. I'll be live at noon. We're going to talk about Mars more. Queen of Courts, send me your email, please. I'm going to have her on. Claudia, her name is Karen. She is an amazing woman. She actually goes up in, I want to make sure that I'm saying this right, but like 6 months a year, and collects some of the most beautiful amethysts. In fact, I have just some of the smaller. I mean, wow. She actually mines this herself.
Wow, beautiful.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll see if you like some of this. She sent me a lot of amethyst, and I'm going to have her on because I think that there's a lot that we can learn with crystals. I happen to believe in them, and because, how I know why I believe in them, Claudia, because when I was a child, I got to make a radio using quartz crystal.
Oh, yes.
It's the very first thing you learn in science that you learn. So that from a very early age, it told me something. It said, well, now wait a minute. A crystal can amplify a signal, but also transfer electrical power. Hey, that was a pretty bright kid.
Yeah, very good.
Good looking one too. I'll show you a picture.
Oh,
as a kid.
Wonderful.
All right. All right, folks. We appreciate you. We'll see y'all next week. Claudia, stay on before we let go. And all right, folks. We'll see y'all again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.